fellas, thanks for coming up from Colorado. Denver?
Yeah, north of Denver.
Let's get specific.
Claim Denver. I'm out of Johnstown, Colorado. The Mile High Note Game Calls Company is out of Loveland, Colorado. So I don't know, for those who don't know where Loveland is, but Rocky Mountain National Park, just about, 30 minutes from us there. So we got lots of elk in our backyards every day.
Nice.
So
what, Loveland, is that far from Fort Collins?
No, it's 20 minutes from Fort Collins. So yeah.
And then after Collins, you're pretty much in Wyoming?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Great state of Wyoming.
I got a tattoo in Loveland, Colorado.
Really? Yeah.
Random.
That's where I was born and raised. So,
all right. Beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I love it. Love it.
So Thomas, and your dad is also Thomas?
Yep. Tom. He goes by Tom. I go by Thomas, just to keep things straight.
And so Tom Sr., Thomas Jr., and then there's CJ.
Yep.
What's up, CJ?
What's up?
I met you at the Western Hunt Expo, and you were telling me about you're part of this elk calling brand, and you're really into DIY elk hunting. And I just said, well, dude, you should come up and podcast about it. That was it. And next thing I know, here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Thomas and I finally got out of the booth for a few hours during the Hunt Expo, and we were kind of making some rounds, and we were by Mountain Ops, and I saw you, and I was like, Thomas, that's Dan. We need to go introduce ourselves and connect. And we got caught at the Howell booth forever, and I was like, I got to go see if your dad's okay back at the booth. So on the way back, I ran into you and was able to connect a little bit, and yeah, here we are.
Well, thanks for coming up, guys. I mean, you flew in yesterday afternoon pretty late, had to get a hotel. I had my father-in-law's 69th birthday. Then we do Thursday night church. And then I had kids conferences this morning, which I never go. That's my first kids conferences. And then physical therapy. And then you guys came and met me at physical therapy. We just did a workout. How was that, by the way?
It was eye-opening. It was a great workout. Probably the best I've had in a little while. So
yeah, definitely for me, especially. I don't think I've ever set foot in a CrossFit gym, so that was a new experience for me. But kicked my butt and opened my eyes to what is coming, I guess, with elk season. So
yeah,
I've been can't lie, I've been a little lazy the past 5 months. So now I know I need to get back into it and start preparing.
Yeah, winter sucks. I hate winter. And the older I get, the more grumpier I get about it. I didn't snow ski this year. Obviously, I had knee surgery, so I was like, I got a ski pass, and then I had to defer it.
Yeah.
But even then, man, like I just don't like being cold.
Yeah.
And the lack of daylight, and nothing quite like spring. Fall's what we live for.
Oh yeah.
But spring, man, is so exciting with the extra daylight each and every day. Like, I know I come out of work and I'm like, oh, it's still daylight. Or I guess I can shoot my bow today. I have enough daylight or whatever. But, it's good. How's the snowpack for you guys?
I'd say the mountains is pretty good. Down where we live, we haven't gotten hardly any snow this year.
It's been a dry winter where we are. Yeah.
Been extremely dry. I think for the most part, Colorado is around that 90 to 100, snowpack in the mountains. So
which is good.
It's good. March is our snowiest month, though, and we haven't got much snow. So
we got hammered this March.
Yeah.
Par for the course. We usually get it in the back end of winter.
Yeah.
Which is fine. How did you two meet?
So we used to work at Sportsman's Warehouse, and that's kind of where we connected. Gosh, probably 11 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And we just hit it off, became friends.
What departments y'all work in?
Customer service.
Customer service.
God bless you.
I know, right?
I bought this. It doesn't work. Can I get a refund? Where's your receipt? Was it within 30 days? No. Was it something like that?
Yep. That summed up it.
Yeah, I will say Sportsman's been good. A lot of our friends, a lot of our connections all come from Sportsman. So worked out, and then we just hit it off. Became, obviously connected through hunting. And we do a lot of hunting throughout the year together. Do everything from waterfowl to turkey hunting to archery elk hunting. Thomas got me into archery elk hunting in 2019, and
you're welcome.
Yeah,
yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, I know.
He's taking it to the next level, so it's been great watching it. So
okay, let's go back to that workout fitness stuff real quick. It's kind of a CrossFit gym, but it's kind of more like it's got like a sports performance, jiu-jitsu, like all these cool things. Like, and it's actually like a philanthropist type guy who owns that building. I do my PT there, and then when the PT's over, my physical therapist goes to his next patient, and then I'm like, so you're saying I can use all this stuff out here? That's when I called y'all up. I was like, hey, get over here. Like, let's play. Because I love the sled pushes that we did today. And you guys were on an Echo bike. And we had you guys just work as a team.
Yep.
Which, I didn't tell you this, but anytime you have a teammate in your hunting partners, it's like it automatically ensures that the workout's going to be better. You know what I mean? You're not going to half-ass it if CJ's like killing himself and you look at the corner of your eye and like, damn, CJ's getting after it. And, or vice versa. Like CJ, you look over and Thomas is like, you were getting after it on those sleds and you were getting after it on those bikes. What was the hardest movement you did out of everything we did today?
For me, the rings.
I would say the same. We talked about it on the way
That's
over here.
midline, fellas.
I know,
That's core.
I know.
That's the weakness, yeah.
So it's time to get working on
Yeah.
that. That's awesome.
I like to lift heavy weights, but yeah, the core has always been kind of a weakness for me. So
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, the rings was definitely, as far as like the workout goes, I mean, we did that pegboard.
Oh, yeah.
And like briefly, we didn't make that really part of the whole workout, but that was, I mean, you made it look simple. So I was like, I could at least get 1 or 2 of these pegs in there. And no, that was tough too. So, and again, that was a lot of core, more core than you expected. You think it's just all forearm and arm, but it was definitely core involved too. So,
Well, what I told my wife driving over here, because she's like, well, how'd they do in the workout? You didn't try to kill them, did you? Because she knows me. And I'm like, no, I didn't try to kill them. But I said, it's interesting to me that, like, I can just tell they're elk hunters through and through. So, like, there's something to be said about you really don't have to be in shape to kill elk. I'm not going to ever deny that.
yeah.
Like, it's a lot of between the ears. When I say between the ears, I mean, like, you could be just really tough. Like, you're just a tough son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to kill elk. Or you just know what the elk are going to do before they do it because you just know. And so you're going to end up in a position to kill.
Yep.
And then there's guys that aren't either of those. They better rely on some fitness or something. You know, and that would be me. I have never been really that good of an elk hunter, especially early on. But I always relied on my fitness to have encounters. And what she asked was like, well, are these guys look like they're in really good shape? I was like, these guys do not look overweight at all. They look like they could put a backpack on and charge, but looks can be deceiving. And my point is, I was like, just because you don't, how do you say, I'm trying to say this so delicately. You guys look like pretty fit, above average guys. And I would say after working out with you, I was like, you guys are fit, but you could be fitter. You know what I mean? And is it a combination of just coming out of winter? I want to know your ages. Have you took your foot off the gas pedal a little bit? We as men, we got to make money. We got to provide. We don't really share our feelings. We keep it inside.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure. Where are you guys at? Not to get like dive in deep, but yeah, man, this is the ELKSHAPE pod. We talk about real shit. So
Yeah, definitely. I'll start. I am, I'm 34 years old. I'll be 35 this year. So, but yeah, as far as like you said, taking your foot off the gas pedal, that's something that I've definitely done since his deer hunt back in October. And then, I mean, not to make excuses or nothing, but I took my foot off the gas pedal mainly to my new life. I mean, we just had a baby 5 months ago. So that was a life adjustment and, you know, itself. So, I mean, my wife's a saint. I mean, she let me go elk hunting, you know, in September, and our baby was due. Our baby was due October 10th is when she came, and, you know, I hunted 2 weeks in September. And, you know, I worked my butt off before that, and it was probably the best shape I've ever been in going into that elk season because I knew I had, you know, the baby coming. So I wanted to make sure I was as prepared as I could be. And, you know, I kicked butt, grinded for 12 days is when I ended up shooting the elk, was on the 12th day of the season. And then baby came, and 2 weeks later, he had his rifle hunt, and I told him to put in for it. And then we became pregnant, right? And so I was like, I can't give up on CJ. I still got to go on his hunt. And so my wife let me go on I was gone for another 5 days when my baby was 2 weeks old. And so, you know, we killed it there, and then I kind of just stepped back and have, you know, been focusing on the dad thing and just kind of let myself kind of get off the gas for the last, 5 months. And you don't think 5 months is that long, but once you get in the gym and you start doing it again, you're like, wow, yeah, that's eye-opening.
You'll get it back fast.
Yeah.
How about you, man?
yeah, so 34 years old as well.
Okay, you guys are the
So
same age.
Same age.
Yeah.
You guys didn't
Same
go to the
age.
same high school?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Just
No.
met at Sportsman's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in southern Colorado, so down near Pueblo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, born and raised down there. Then went to CSU and stayed up northern Colorado after that.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, so I mean, for me, it's kind of cyclical throughout the year. So I'm in real estate full time. So my busiest times of the year are in the spring and summer. So that winter season, I kind of focus more on I guess the strength and side of things. And then as spring and summer approaches, I kind of do more of the cardio and try to get into more core workouts where I probably should be doing it throughout the year. And I think one thing for me is like, obviously Thomas and I are hunting partners. And I think one of the reasons we kind of mesh hunting wise is because we kind of have that mental switch during elk season. Like we just both like, there's no bull too far. We're going to do whatever it takes. We're going to stick in for 18 days, whatever it takes, we're going to do. And we're super aligned on that side of it. But I think obviously in the off season, like I think there's room for improvement for sure. We're, if we're hunting partners during elk season, why aren't we working out in the off season together and kind of pushing ourselves, in that side of it as well. So I think I tend to work out solo. Thomas tends to work out solo. Like I think there's a degree of accountability that's beneficial as well. So I think that's something probably start to work on.
Yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, Dan, earlier, it's some people, like you said, you have to work out. You're very physical. You're ready for it, right? And like CJ just said, I mean, there's nothing that will stop us, like from going the next ridge. And sometimes we end up going too far and getting a bull down, and we're like,
what have we done?
We're in trouble now. But that mind. I mean, it's just a flip of a switch. We've had other people hunt with us too, and it's just, they just it can't hang. We'll just leave it at that, and it's eye-opening to them, but you find a partner that has the same mindset is important. So
it is.
Yeah.
I do like what you were suggesting, I think, through like, all right, bro, let's train together year round. And what that means is in my perfect world, we'd be like, okay, a couple days a week, a mutually agreed upon location and time, and no texting is necessary. There's no confirmation. We're both going to be there. And if you're in real estate, especially, your clients don't need to be emailed back at 5 a.m., right?
Exactly.
And I don't know if you have a 9 to 5 or not, but it ain't at 5 a.m. most likely. So for we as men, the only way we're going to get about is going to be first thing in the morning. And I hate training in the morning. Like, seriously, I've reprogrammed my life to not have to train at 5 a.m. Most of my workouts occur between 2 and 4 p.m.
Okay.
And the only reason I do that is because that's just when I feel the best. But I would do 5 a.m. if I had to. And it would be cool to see you guys. The only time you text is if you were bailing. Like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we got our elk bros. We're working out together. That could be really cool.
Yeah.
Follow whatever programming you want. But it's really not about getting ready for this elk season. It's to take your daughter's son elk hunting when you're an old man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that quality of life and stuff. And, you can tell I really believe it, but it's cool that you guys recognize that mental toughness will only get you through so many elk seasons.
Yeah.
High cholesterol will have something to say about it. High blood pressure, being overweight can lead to a whole bunch of diseases and stuff. So, you introduced CJ to elk hunting in 2019.
Yeah, archery elk hunting. His family always grew up, rifle hunting, and they were very successful in that. And then, we met in, we'll say college. It was right at the end of college. We didn't really meet in college. We met at Sportsman's Warehouse, and then we ended up both needing somewhere to live, so we became roommates. And then, so we were roommates for 4 years?
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
So you guys actually like each other.
Yeah, we do.
That's
so,
cool.
I mean, we fight like brothers sometimes, but I mean, that's just life. And neither of us had a brother growing up, so we, kind of look at it that way as well.
I didn't either. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, got some sisters. And, but yeah, so we lived together, and then, I would go elk hunting in archery. He would go to his rifle thing. And then one year he was just like, can I tag along one a year and hunt? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So we, just doing the over-the-counter thing in Colorado, archery. And the year we went, it was a pretty good year. I ended up not killing a bull, but we had a lot of close encounters. I mean, that's archery hunting. Like, it's
fun.
You're not always going to kill. It's a matter of inches. Needed one more step. I don't know how many times. And, CJ wasn't into calling at that point either, using elk calls. And where we hunt in Colorado, it's very dense and there's no glassing. And so you're going to be calling. It's going off vocalization. And so I introduced him to calling, and, you know, they do a lot of hunting first rifle, and you can call a lot in first rifle still. Like, especially nowadays, that rut is almost peak in first rifle in Colorado.
What's the dates on first rifle-ish?
It's right around the 10th to 12th of October.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, like or say most of Idaho, general B tags are October 10th.
okay.
And I've always been grumpy about it.
yeah.
Because obviously, dude, you rifle guys are legit. You kill stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you rifle guys kill more than archery guys. And so, no, I don't want you to hunt elk October 10th.
Yeah.
Because you're going to kill them,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that was his family. They always did great, and but they never called, you know. And so he came with me. Get back to the story. He came with me. We got into a lot of elk. It was, you know, I had him kind of running a camera for me too, and the footage ended up not being great because he was, you know, elk were bugling and coming in. It wasn't something he experienced before, so a lot of it was like, you know, a little shaky, and then you could hear him. You could hear him breathe in, and I was like, so I knew he was hooked at that point. The very next year, he bought a bow. And, you know, we went scouting. He, you know, I was like, hey, I showed him a little bit of, you know, what to get into, what to look for during archery season, where to hang cameras. And then, I mean, he took it to the next level. I was like, this is kind of the area I hunt with me and my dad. And then, you know, he found his own areas. We shared the same camp. And, you know, from there, he had very great success. I mean, you can kind of touch on how it went after that. So,
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. I mean, definitely had some success, had a lot of heartbreaks as well, though. I mean, that's archery hunting, but
yeah.
first year, I guess I took a bow into the woods. I was with Thomas. I killed a small 6x6, so first year bow hunting.
Very first year.
Bro, that don't happen.
No.
Yeah.
That's the exception.
Very
Good
first
for
year.
you.
Yeah. And then...
And you missed one, too.
Yeah, I missed
Like, missed a bigger bull,
missed
too.
a bigger bull that
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
2020 was a weird year with the everything going on in the fires. Missed an opportunity on a bull that year, and then 21 and 22, I killed a bull-cow combo with a bow, both of those years. So
So you kill a bull and a cow in the same year?
yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
years in a row.
racking up some
Yeah.
notches in the belt, to be quite honest. Some good experience.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So like I said, I've had some success, but a lot of failure too, and a lot of learning experiences. But there's nothing I would rather be doing in September. I mean, I've kind of formulated my life to a certain extent around the month of September. So
Mhm.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I like you guys. You guys got quite the chemistry. Good on you for mentoring him.
Yeah.
Like that. That's not an accident. I actually hate you. I didn't have a mentor. I had an uncle who took me to his elk spots. God bless him. He did two things in my life. He took me backpacking for the first time at age 10, like a legit, several night backpacking trip. Freaking fell in love with just the idea of being in the backcountry.
Yeah.
And then the dude takes me when I first get a bow, archery elk hunting, and I hear bugles, and he takes me through, a full day elk hunting. And personalities wise, I'm just like, I'm hooked. So God bless him. But I didn't have a mentor. He doesn't know anything about, I don't think he's ever killed an elk with a bow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's cool to have a mentorship, and like you got hooked in there you have a pretty good stats, man, for a rookie elk hunter.
Yeah.
Like you're not a rookie.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're like a G now.
For sure. I mean, I like to think that, obviously I've learned a lot, but I'm lucky because I can put in the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of times what it takes.
Time is the
especially when
killer.
It's over the counter and you got to outweigh other people and, weather. And if you're able to put in the time, that helps. But certainly have been able to, calling is huge for us, the way we hunt. We like to hunt.
Yep.
And Thomas has been a godsend for sure. I mean, there's been multiple times where he's come up and helped me pack out in rainstorms at 2 a.m. And so it's been a journey, but we love it. So
Yeah.
That is really cool background between the two of you. Let's navigate Colorado for a second, since you're both residents. I get a lot of DMs about, hey, where should I go? This, that, the other. And a lot of times I do send them to your state, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I'm like, they got the most elk out of any state out west. And they're like, well, there's no more over the counter. And I'm like, well, do you really think you're not going to draw certain units that were over the counter with 0 points? I got to imagine yeah, there's going to be some guys who don't get elk tags, but like for the most part, aren't people going to be able to get their tag? They're just going to have to put it for their first choice.
Yep.
Am I looking at this wrong?
No, that's exactly how I'm looking at it. I mean, the regs in Colorado are kind of hard to understand for a lot of people, but like I said, working in customer service at Sportsman's Warehouse, we sold licenses. So I'm
okay.
kind of a nerd and an encyclopedia when it comes to Colorado regs. So,
Cool.
I mean, I can spit out a lot of information, but past few years, they are changing a lot. And as far as the over-the-counter going away, I don't think there's going to be a major impact on people other than, one, you're not going to be able to build points if you want to hunt every year.
Great.
They did, make units. So it's not just an individual unit. There's, for instance, like Northwest
zones?
Colorado. Yes.
Okay.
Northwest Colorado, like in Walden area, kind of, up by our country. There's, I think, like 8 units all together as one draw area. So you can hunt all 8 of those units. And I think people, they might not want to burn their points is probably some people's problem. They might be in that like 5-point, 6-point, 7-point area, and they don't want to put in for an over-the-counter spot now. So personal choice. It's what you're going to want to do. If you have 0, I honestly think you can draw any any draw unit that is over-the-counter for us. I think you're going to be able to draw it first year, 0 points. There might even be leftovers.
That's what I'm saying.
So I've been telling some people, it's up to you guys, but if you want to gamble, just put in for a point and hope for a leftover.
Because you have a secondary draw too, right?
We do, yep. We have a secondary draw. As of right now, it doesn't use your points. 2028, it's going to start using your points as well.
As it should.
So, yep, as it should. And then leftover is also changing in 2028. So do some research on that if you're banking on doing leftovers in the future.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I think, and I don't know. I've been trying to find the quotas because there's got to be a quota for each area for non-residents.
This sounds
I don't know what they are.
encouraging to me.
Yeah, so if you can find the quotas, maybe they're giving out 10,000 tags for each area. I don't know.
But dude, you freaking residents, man. You are freaking residents putting up with the nonsense for how long?
Oh, gosh.
Hey, tell us some stories so I don't sound like a jerk. But like, what is nonsense when I say that?
I'd say 85% of the people we meet in the woods are non-resident.
Yeah.
Like, hands down. The end.
Yeah.
Like, especially archery.
Yeah.
Archery over the counter. I mean, every trailhead you go to, there's Iowa, Missouri, Texas, you name it.
Yeah.
Like, you probably see all 48 states at some point in my life hunting over the counter. But, it's a great opportunity. And, I saw a lot of people get upset about it, and I might get some hate for it. But, you had a lot of opportunity for a long time. And, I don't think it's going to change too much. If people want to elk hunt still, they're going to have the opportunity. And Colorado, even with making the changes, still gives the most opportunity, in my opinion, for non-residents. So you just might have to do a little more research. And, it's not just going to be your backup plan now. So you might just have to.
Well said, Thomas. Well said.
You just might have to plan a little better. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, though, that, we don't call in elk hunters every day.
Oh, yeah.
When we typically hunt.
Yeah. So. It's a lot of hunters. So,
what's your advice to the direct messengers of me asking me about strategy in Colorado when it comes to getting away from hunting pressure? Like, for example, I don't think your wildernesses are very big, in my opinion. Like, it's big, but it's really not that big. So no matter which side of the unit you approach, you go 7 miles, well, you might meet everybody else who's coming from a different trailhead 7 miles.
Yeah.
And I've always suggested to find kind of shittier places to go that just suck to travel. The elk are going to know real quick, like, how to get away from some of that pressure. Could only be 500 yards from a road, but it's a sea of downfall. They're pretty safe in there or whatever. But is that good advice, or like, how would you suggest people tackle Colorado? And we're talking all the over-the-counter stuff that's not here anymore. Like, just your not that good, your basic stuff.
Your basic units. That's a tough one to tackle. A lot of people have, I guess, expressed their opinions and their thoughts about, you have to go in deep. You have to go in deep. And that's kind of been pushed for quite a while now. And it seems like everybody's listening. to that. And I think you mentioned something a minute ago about that spot. It could be a hellhole, and it's 500 yards off the road, mile off the road.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck, but you can find success in those places for sure.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to go 6-7 miles back in there, because you're gonna run into hunters too. And that's, you think you're gonna get away. You pull up your OnX maps and you look and you see that purple spot of like the no vehicle traffic or whatever, and you're like, yep, that's where I'm going. And that's where everybody else is going. So
Everybody's got that same OnX.
yeah, exactly.
Everybody took that Livesay e-scouting course.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's been a huge part of my strategy is just, so I've killed all 6 of my elk with the bow on the same ridge.
Yeah.
And
No shit.
And they're all basically all within a quarter mile of a road, an ATV road.
Yeah.
And it's basically what you alluded to. It's a hellhole, downfall timber everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's hell to get up there.
Yeah, sucks.
And I think it's just overlooked by a lot of people, but it's a place where elk, when they have pressure, they go to. And if you learn, I kind of got that hunting that ridge down to a science. I know what the elk do on it, but it's a place that you'd overlook, and it's just not a fun place to hunt. So that's a huge part of my strategy personally.
Hey guys, interrupt the pod today to tell you about my good old buddy MFJJ. He's got a pretty cool website, podiumarcher.com, carries a lot of stuff for archery. And if you're looking for one-stop shopping when it comes to archery, he's got you. Throw the discount code ELKSHAPE in your cart. It'll save you 10%. Hey guys, we are going to interrupt this podcast to bring you a message from one of our proud partners, QAD Quality Archery Designs. They make the rest that I run with all my Matthews bows, the MX2 Integrate. I've tried other brands. I've also done limb-driven for more years than I can remember, but I've gone to this cable-driven Integrate rest mainly for hunting application. The fact that I can lock that in that upright position, have full capture, and still make my stocks, that has been the game changer for me. It's super easy to tune, and obviously with the word integration, it is built specifically for the riser of the Matthews bows. They also make integrates for other manufacturers. They also make badass broadheads, QAD. I still vote that as one of the most blue-collar, budget-friendly, awesome fixed broadheads on the market. They have the 90 and the swept. QAD Quality Archery Designs, great partner of ours. Check out the QAD ELKSHAPE edition at our store. Hey guys, Interrupt the Pod talked about sheep feet. This is orthotics for your feet, custom suited. Everything starts and finishes from the ground up. So these orthotics go into everything. My workout shoes, my walk around shoes, my hiking boots. They'll send you a mold. You'll put your feet in it. You'll send it back to them, and they'll spit out these custom molds. These are going to really help your feet fight off neuroma, blisters, plantar fasciitis, hammer toes, all sorts of feet ailments that could ruin or sideline your hunt. Sheep feet, we have a discount code, takes 10% off. It is ELKSHAPE. Check it out. Back to the pod. So I want to know what you say about your ridge down to a science. I have this one spot in North Idaho. I don't hunt there anymore, but it took me a while to figure it out. But what I would do is I would park and walk past the elk, and they're bugling like crazy. And my first time, I did exactly what anyone would do. I got sucked right down to the matrix because they're bugles.
Yeah.
Now, what I did was I just walked past them about 2 miles down this finger, and then I would button hook right and then wait. And sure enough, no matter, if you drop off the top after them and you chase them, you'll always be behind them. You'll never catch up to elk because they're 4-legged elk. And
they
you'll
live there
never
every day.
catch. Yeah. But if you just walk past them 2 miles and button hook right and set up, that bull will bugle and push his cows all the way right by and the raghorns, and you'll get a shot. That's how I killed my biggest bull ever, was by figuring that out. Didn't figure out the first time, right? It took me several years. Tell me about this ridge. Tell me about your science. Tell me what you've learned, man.
So basically, this ridge is it's situated between 2 drainages.
Mm-hmm.
And, in Colorado, you can use trail cams. So I was able to kind of pattern elk during the summer months in August and kind of have an idea what they're doing.
How many cameras?
Gosh, I probably run not a ton, probably 8 or 9 cameras on that ridge.
That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So
How far apart?
Some within a couple hundred yards of each other.
I love you. I
Yeah.
think that's so smart. It's a trail camera trap line.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So kind of similar to your strategy. So what I found is a lot of times at night, the elk move lower. So they'll go down to the creek bottoms and the drainages. And then kind of, as soon as it gets light, early morning to mid morning, they'll start moving back up to bed towards the top of the ridge where they can kind of get the good wind, smell predators, smell hunters. So basically that's their pattern is they go down at night, get water, do their thing, and kind of move up, as the morning progresses. So my strategy has been basically to hightail it to the top of the ridge, get to the top right away, and kind of wait on them to go up to bed. And I've called in a number of bulls doing that. So basically, I killed a bull doing that, basically got to the top. He was going to bed, came in. That one was a satellite bull, but there's a bull up where we hunt. We kind of named him the Fire Bull. Missed an opportunity on the Fire Bull, unfortunately. I had him at 40 yards, but just couldn't get a shot. But same thing. He was solo. It was 10 a.m. I was basically at the top, and he was going to bed, and watched his antler tips walk right by me, and I couldn't get a shot. But basically my strategy is, because the wind switches about that time as well.
About 10?
Yeah, about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Whereas most guys probably dive off from the top down
Correct.
and have to circle.
Yep.
Because you can't, you'll get winded.
Mhm.
And then they're in the creek bottom. It's tough to hear.
Yep.
And now they're up the tailpipe of the herd trying to go uphill and keep up with four-legged elk.
That's the biggest thing is, right, you'll never catch up to a herd of elk. So if you're starting low and trying to keep up with them, I've done it a number of times. I just feel like you'll never catch up to where they are. So my goal is to try to beat them to where they're going.
Love it.
And obviously calling plays a role in that. But so yeah, I kind of get up to the top, wait for the wind to switch, and a lot of times they're pretty vulnerable doing that. So there's a couple wallows that I found on the same ridge, and I will sit those wallows when it's hot. And certain times, I killed my first bull on one of the wallows. So
Elevated, brush blind, called them in. What?
yeah, so the first bull I killed with Thomas, it was kind of a rainstorm, right?
It's always raining when you kill elk.
Yeah, pretty much every elk I've killed, it's been raining. But yeah, so we called that bull in. We were basically like 30 yards apart, and he was actually in the wallow, and we called him down from the wallow. But
could you hear him splashing in the wallow originally?
We was bugling. I nicknamed him Grunt because that's all he would do is grunt.
One of those guys,
wouldn't bugle, just grunted 24/7. And we actually could see him up above us walking back and forth. He kind of go over towards Thomas area. We thought he was going to come out over there, and then he'd go back this way. And finally, we were able to draw him close enough to where I had an opening on him.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Calling elk, you've killed 6 elk with a bow?
Correct, yeah.
How many have been solo?
5.
All right, mister.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Like, what is your advice for solo elk calling? Because it's different. If you have Thomas with you, are you part owner of this call company?
No, I just help out.
Okay.
Yep.
You have an owner of an elk calling company. Confidence goes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shit, this guy better know what he's doing, right? And it's nice to have a caller because you can help identify this hang-up spot and position. You're solo. You got to do the calling and the identifying of the hang-up spot and be the shooter. Have you been thinking about that while all this is going on?
Yeah, I mean it's tough because and that honestly this past season it ruined several opportunities for me just not having a caller behind me. And when you are calling a bull and they hang up and you don't have someone behind you, get that extra distance. It's tough, but and then when they do come in, sometimes they come in so quick that you don't have enough time to react.
Yep.
So you don't have another caller taking the attention off of you, and they're just focused right on the call.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been a mixture. I think it really depends on what the elk are doing. My strategy this year, I called in a lot of bulls where I hunted, and I was basically just cow calling. In a lot of those cases, there was one bull that I called into about 20 yards, just bugling back and forth. But it depends really on kind of the situation and the elk and what they're responding to. So typically, I always start out with cow calls, and sometimes I'll move locations. So I'll cow call where I originally start, then move back 50 yards, cow call, just so that bull thinks that you're moving locations a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes that works, but it really depends for me on kind of what the elk's doing. We try to read the elk and kind of adapt off of that.
What is the terrain features where you've been hunting to where you said there was a lot of blowdowns? You said it's pretty thick. So I'm imagining there's no moving your pens. You probably could get away with hunting with 3-4 pens. And for an elk to come in to a call and they want to see, right? Like they're a very visual animal. They want to get a look to see what you are. Is it benches that you're having these encounters on and you got to figure out where's that bull going to go to try to stand to see me? I'm just trying to identify like the terrain type. Is there a lot of undergrowth and brush, or is it like burnt matchsticks that are all falling over? What is the terrain like?
Well, it's super, super dense where we hunt. So that we try to use that to our advantage, right? We can't glass, which is a disadvantage in some cases, but we try to use how dense it is to our advantage. I mean, if a bull comes in, we're not going to probably see it coming in until it's right on us.
It's like 40 yards away.
Yeah.
Like every shot's going to be 40 and under.
So
40 under?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then do you guys typically draw when you hear him coming, or do you, like, because obviously that's an art.
Footsteps.
Footsteps, when to draw. Don't draw too early, then you're stuck and you'll have to let down. They might see that.
Yeah.
Don't draw soon enough. They might see that. You know, you could have killed him if he would have been at full draw. You know, it's nuanced, right?
Yeah.
It's an art. For your area, when do you typically draw?
I typically draw, I mean, it's dense, but like I said, 40 yards is kind of your max. So you can start seeing like legs before you can see body.
Aha.
So, you know, and CJ touced on something for like solo hunters. For one of my biggest things that I do when I hunt solo, you have to be mobile. If you sit in one spot and just hope they come to that one spot. They're going to come to that one spot, but they have an uncanny way of pinpointing where you are. Even when they're 500 yards away, they will come exactly where you were.
GPS.
And, you know, they'll play the wind. So if you start hearing them circling, you got to drop down and get in front of them. So you just got to, hopefully they're bugling enough. Sometimes they might light off once and then it's a guessing game. That's when you start hearing them because there's blowdown. So you can start hearing some trees snapping and then you see some legs. And then hopefully at that point, once you start seeing legs, you can, you know, you have all of your spots marked, right? You're like, okay, that's 30, 40,
Pre-range.
25, 15, pre-range. Okay, I know I'm going to draw at that point, this point, that point. You know, and I always range before I start calling. I've learned my lesson, right?
Yeah.
So
There's a reason why you
there's
said
a reason
that.
why I do that. Make sure you got an arrow knocked, you're ready to go because that bull could be right there. So essentially, once I start seeing legs is kind of where I start pulling back, but that might be a cow. And then you're stuck, which has happened plenty of times. And the bull's usually behind. So what I've learned at that point too is, you know, give it till you can at least see like half the legs, but every situation's different, I guess. So I pulled back at the wrong time. I don't know how many times, had to let down, or I should have pulled back and I didn't.
Yeah.
So
guys listening, don't beat yourself up if you screw that up.
yeah,
It's going to happen. 2 veteran elk hunters, 2 guys who've killed many elk, are still going to screw up when to draw. It's just, you know, there's a little
Every
bit of
year.
luck. There's
Every
a little bit of
season.
luck to it. As much as you want to
Yeah.
manufacture luck and practice your calling and scouting and be fit, and
nope,
there's always a little hint of luck, right?
always.
Always. So that's why we do it.
One thing I've learned too is, I've talked to Thomas about this. I grew up playing football, and they always say always be in an athletic position.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with bow hunting. If you're, you know, if it's mid-morning and you let your guard down, you're sitting Indian style or just kind of sitting against a tree, you're not ready for something to happen.
Sure.
And I've lost opportunities by being in that position. So, you know, always when you start calling, be in a position, an athletic position to be able to do something about it if a bull comes in.
Absolutely.
So
You own an elk calling company.
Yep, my dad and I.
When did you guys decide to do that?
We started making elk calls in 2013.
Why?
So we started making elk calls. I mean, we grew up. My dad entered his first calling contest in like 1990.
Oh.
So he went to
What's your last name?
Deasing.
Aha. Okay.
Yep. So
Seen the name.
Yep. So he entered his first calling contest in like 1990. He learned how to elk call from Wayne Carlton.
Yep.
Being
Rest
from
in peace.
Colorado, rest in peace. You know, one of the legend of elk calling. So, you know, that's where he got to start. He went to a seminar that he put on in Berthoud, Colorado, and my dad showed up, him and his buddy Lonnie, and they were the only two there. So they got a private calling lesson, one-on-one from Wayne Carlton. So my dad was hooked. You know, his dad didn't elk hunt really, so my dad learned kind of on his own. So long story short, 2013 comes around. You know, we had done contests forever. I started calling when I was a peewee, won national title as peewee. Then I used my voice for years and won the voice contest at
Give me a little
nationals.
cow.
Oh God, I can't anymore.
You can't?
Hear my deep, no.
Yeah.
Once I hit
What's
15.
15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I hit 15, it was done.
Okay.
So, you know, I won voice division 4 years in a row, and then I lost to a guy who could still do it. So then at 16, I skipped the youth. I decided the money was better in nationals in the men's division. So I went to the men's division with a diaphragm and won that year. So I won the men's division nationals twice. And so all in all, I've won 7 times at the nationals. So we liked calling, right?
Yeah.
But the problem was we would buy whatever brand it was we were using at the time. We'd buy like 5, 6, 7 calls, right? And you would like 2, 3, 4 of them. They were inconsistent. It's the same exact call, but inconsistent. So we got kind of tired of that because we wanted to perfect it, right? And so my dad bought a press, and we started just making calls for ourselves, and we stopped buying everybody else's. So at that point, we started giving them to friends. Friends liked them, and then eventually, being at Sportsman's Warehouse, you know, we had an in with the buyer, so we got in at the local store there, and then from there, it just kind of kept growing, and now we're in, you know, all the Western Shields, and so it's really kicked off. It's neither of ours full-time job, so we just do it, you know, after work in the basement, pressing calls, and then we.
How many calls you press a day there, CJ?
I don't press any calls.
Okay, Thomas, how many you press a day?
So that's the other caveat. I don't press any either. My dad takes extreme pride in making every single call.
Holy crap, you're serious?
Yep. So that's why when, you know, working booths, my dad, they ask him like, what sets you guys apart from everybody else, right? And he loves saying, I make every single call. So every single call is going to be as consistent as it can be. And the call you buy in Sportsman's Warehouse here today, well, we're not in Sportsman's anymore, but any Shields, any call you buy there is going to be exactly the same as what you buy from me today. And I will say it's getting to the point where he needs to start letting me make some calls, right? So he's overloaded.
There's a ceiling.
Yeah, he's
Tom
reached his
Senior.
ceiling. Yep.
Sorry to say, but that is cool.
So
that you could do that but at this point,
yep.
trajectory. And then I'll have there is another call company in Colorado, I believe. Like a former skier type dude. Is that a different, do you know what I'm talking about? We may cut this out of the pod, but like, I'm serious. Like, I thought maybe it was you guys, but then I'm like, wait, that might be a different company. You don't know what I'm talking about? Okay. And it's like a weird, different, like wood thing.
Was that the one that we saw this year?
No, he's been around for a while.
Oh, okay.
Gosh, what's his company? It's like the one you bite on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's real feisty on the internet.
Yeah.
That's the nicest way to say it. He would even tell you that.
Yeah, he is. And he would tell you that too.
Yeah, he's feisty, but
real,
yeah.
Real
so
game calls. Yeah.
That's a different company.
We're not affiliated with him
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys officially
And of course, Carlton's out of Colorado. So.
right.
Yeah.
So 2013, you kick it off. Oh yeah, Wayne's son is a buddy of mine. So like Mark's a good dude.
We know Mark very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some good. They're all good companies. I'm friends mainly with I would say Dirk Durham and Jason Phelps. Been friends with them for years. I trained Cody McCarthy when he was a kid. Now he's at Slayer. Friends with him. So I guess I'll look at the camera and say, like, I don't really care what call you use, and I am not loyal to any call company. I am loyal to elk hunting and hard work. So that's why it's an honor to bring you guys in today, because I don't really know you, but I want to hear these elk, man. I want to hear these elk sounds and go through your lineup.
Yeah,
and see what's maybe makes you guys different.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, I'll push the microphone here and just kind of go in and out of it. But for the longest time, we didn't have dome calls.
Okay.
We've kind of took the Carlton route, right? Of the big mainframe call. And They're harder to use. I will say that absolutely. And a lot of people struggle with them. And so we fought the domes for a while. We didn't come out with domes until this year. So
That's exciting.
We finally came out with some dome calls, but yeah, the non-dome calls, we have our contenders. So it's just a single reed dome call. And I'd have to pull up my phone, honestly. I can't remember what exactly stretches, but we have all of our calls are from 003 latex or 3,000th to 5,000th. So the 5,000th is going to be pretty thick, right?
She's thick.
So yeah, and I believe our single reed here, this is an 004. And then we stretch each one to, my dad always says, right, like a certain recipe, right? That's what
he's got a little recipe.
He's got a recipe for each and every call, so you stretch it. I know when you had Cody here, same presses we have, so you can see the dial on it, and it's an art, right?
Yeah, it is.
So the contender single reed, that was kind of one of our flagship calls. A lot of people like it, still love it, especially the people who grew up on Carlton, right? They're like, nobody makes them anymore. Everybody's domes.
My father-in-law would be one of those. He's been elk hunting for 35 years. That's the birthday I went to yesterday.
Yep.
He likes that white Carlton cow calf call. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, literally, he bought so many, because he thought they would go out of business, and he don't elk hunt anymore, unfortunately. But like that was his go-to.
Yeah,
and he's killed more elk than anyone I know on planet Earth.
Yeah, same with my dad.
Yeah,
so I guess I know a few, but in our circle anyway. I mean, my dad's killed over, I think 35 to 40 elk with his bow and muzzleloader now as well.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, so then we have a double reed, so single reed, double reed. Basically, the difference is, this is also 004 latex, so it's going to take some power to blow.
A little more advanced.
Yep, a little more advanced. So more layers of latex, more you're going to have to push with your tongue, more you're going to have to blow with air, but you can get a little bit more variation if you do learn it.
Yeah.
So, and you can, tongue placement in little different places to get little different noises, some softer whines, stuff like that. And then if you're feeling like a real big boy, we have a triple reed.
Oh boy.
So, you either love it or hate this call.
Yeah.
So we have some guys who buy them in the booth, when we're at shows, and they want to put it in their mouth right away. And it doesn't sound good when they put it in their mouth, right? And this is what I usually had run in like contests and stuff like that. So and this is 3 layers of 004.
Wow.
So you really got to blow, but you can blow really hard. You're never gonna blow this call out, and it will last years.
Yeah.
One diaphragm will last you years.
Yeah.
If you take care of it properly. So those were kind of our flagship calls that we ran for years, and we still run them. They are great. Like I said, a lot of people like them. So this year we came out with dome calls, and we have a whole new series of calls that we're making. So it's called the Legend Series, and it's just nickname. My dad, we all call him Legend. So that's our inner group, and it's growing. So he's Legend, right?
How come your dad's not here right now?
I don't know.
Tom Senior, where are you at, big dog? I want to meet you.
He's pressing calls.
He is.
Literally.
Yeah, we'll have to bring him out next time. I think he'll skip the workout for sure.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, it'd be good to maybe you can get him in the right direction. He's 60 now, and he still wants to elk hunt and hit it hard. He's definitely trying. He's lost, I think, 40-something pounds now, so he's going in the right direction. I want to keep hunting with my dad as long as I can.
It's special, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the best thing. That's why CJ and I haven't hunted with each other in the past few years recently. So just because I'm trying to get in as much as I can with my dad.
Damn straight.
And but I want to hunt with you longer, Dad. So kick it into gear.
That's right. Okay.
But yeah, so the Legend Series, we came out with some new diaphragms. And we also came out with a new bugle tube from our flagship tubes, which I'll get into the tubes as well. But so just sticking with the diaphragms, our vision of the Legend Series is to honor the legends of the fall, right? So that's what we're calling it. So we're eventually going to come out with each state. So right now, like these are Colorado tape on here. So this is for Colorado. And this one is called Samson. So Samson was a famous bull in Rocky Mountain National Park. He ended up getting poached years ago. This was like in the 90s, but he was like the famous elk of Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And there's statues of him. Elk always try to fight the statue to this day. So our vision was to honor, famous bulls or bulls that everybody may know for each state that have elk. So just to honor the legends of your state.
Yeah.
So right now we have Colorado. So we have the Samson call. this is a dome call. So we do have domes for everybody that's been requesting them for, ever. They've been a big hit since they came out this year. So Samson, this one is 003 latex.
Okay.
So it's going to be a really light stretch. That's what you get with dome calls. You cannot stretch them tight.
Right.
So, you can't hit some of the higher forced notes, if you will. They're a lot easier to hit the higher notes with, but you can push too hard and blow them out.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 003 latex, super sweet cow sounds, super bull sounds as well. There's, a lot of companies, they push like a little bull, big bull, cow, calf, this, that, the other. If you find a diaphragm you like, you can learn to do everything with that diaphragm. You
Well said,
don't
Thomas.
need to be switching diaphragms in the middle of your sequences. And
Well
you
said.
got enough going on when you're elk hunting that the last thing you want to do is like, all right, now I got to take this call out and be a little bull, and like you can do everything with one diaphragm. Just pick the one that works best for you. Like we talked about earlier, we're like the Switzerland of the call company. I've known Dirk, Jason, forever. I've known Rocky Mountain Game Call guys forever, and Corey and Rocky and the Slayer guys, all of the McCarthys know them, very well. Carlton, as well. And competing, we've been competing against them forever.
Yeah.
And our goal, right, is to just do what we're all set out there to do. Like if Phelps works best for you, great. That's what we tell people in our booths too. Like try our calls. If you like them, awesome. Use them. If not, find one that works best for you.
Yes, sir.
If you like our bugle tube, great. Use that and use a Elk 101 call or something, and for the diaphragm. So we don't really care. We just want people to be successful in the field. So that's our biggest thing. But sorry, going off on a little rant there. But to get back to the calls.
I like the rant. That was good, man.
So the kahuna. So everybody knows the kahuna, right? He was the big bull in the Rocky Mountain National Park a few years ago. He passed away as well. He's the one that had the big old thirds, just a picture perfect, beautiful bull. That's his picture there. Samson was on the other one. So kahuna is 004 latex, so 4,000th. A little bit thicker, so you can push a little bit harder. My personal favorite is the kahuna. I think CJ blows the Samson or kahuna now.
I go back and forth.
Yeah. So, I go back and forth too. I ran the kahuna all this last season. So,
Okay.
But yeah, we've been selling the heck out of the Samson just because I think a lot of people like a little bit lighter latex,
Yeah.
more easy to use. So those are our new flagship calls. Hopefully soon coming to your state, we have, your state. But if you have any bulls, a little pitch out there that are famous bulls of your state, let us know so we can kind of get some direction on naming them. It's like, for instance, like Brutus in Wyoming, right? The big wide bull. So more to come, but yeah, so those are our flagship calls right now for our Legend series. So,
Do you have any externals?
Externals, we do. We hand lathe calls as well. So this call is called the Floozy. It's just a cow call. So they're all unique wood. So this is our, they're all custom made. So they go a little bit on the higher end. So they're like $40 for a external call for the guys who can't.
Call.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we love guys who lose calls.
I'm a good customer.
So this is our external reed call, mainly for cow calls. So you can bugle with it. It's not going to sound the best.
Right.
Nothing can sound like a diaphragm. So, it gets great cow call sounds. You can get a lot of estrus noise with it too, being that it's a big soundboard.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you some play. Super easy to use. And they also slide into our tubes. So I'll get into that. And you can get a cow call a little bit louder and, it doesn't fall out. I wouldn't carry it around in there, but you can put it in there to make your cow call louder if need be. So, external, the Floozy. So it's been a big hit as well. This one in particular is green phenolic wood. So it's pressed wood. And it's a big seller of the green one. It's really pretty. So each one's unique. We've got Coca-Cola, a red phenolic. We do maple. We do purple heartwood. We've got like 6 or 7 different woods that we lay them on. So
that's awesome.
Externals. We don't have any external bugle apparatuses. We, like I said in the booth, if people want that, we point them toward our competitors. Honestly, we
That's
just
cool.
want people to find what works best for them. So
Well, let's hear him, man.
Yeah.
I want to hear. Am I packing a big old tube or that little tube? I want to hear the differences.
yeah, absolutely.
The Legend and what's the other bugle tube called?
The Legend and the
Enhancer.
Enhancer.
And the Enhancer is the smaller one?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, let's blow out our eardrums a little bit.
Yeah. So like Dan just said, this is the Legend. So this is our new bugle tube. And what's really cool about this is we added a call pouch on the end here. So that's been a really big hit. You
That's
can
a
take
great
your call,
idea.
Yeah. You can take
Straight up.
call right out of your mouth, put it in here. I mean, how many diaphragms do you lose by setting them on your leg, eating lunch, getting
countless.
up, walking away? So
Yeah.
we added that on every bugle tube that we, the Enhancer and the Legend. So then it's got a silicone mouthpiece as well. So it helps seal in a lot of that lost air that you get.
I can't wait.
You can actually take it off, clean it as well. If you got a bunch of little rugrats at home and they're blowing on it like they do, and then
Yep.
they get sick, you can take this off, wash it. And then this silicone ring here is just for display, really. This is our silicone ring that's actually inlaid in a channel in between here. So it's right at the like pinch point where it starts, becoming a barrel to where it bottlenecks here. So with that being inlaid right there, that channel creates a lot of back pressure. So you get a lot of depth. And then the silicone absorbs a lot of that plastic sound that you can get with bugle tubes.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so I'll bugle through that. And then I'll bugle through our Enhancer. Pretty much same concepts. Silicone, same gasket in there, call pouch. Just a mini version for the guys who like to go backcountry and don't want to carry a bigger tube, which, I mean, ours is kind of mid-range as far as our big tube. But this guy weighs in only at 6 ounces.
Yeah.
And this one weighs in at 10, which still nothing too crazy. But you are going to lose a lot of depth with the little tube versus this. So it just depends what you're looking for. But right now I have the Kahuna call in.
Okay.
So I'll let out some cow calls. I'll push the microphone away. Let me know if it's too far or too close. But so the Kahuna call, cow call. So you can get cow-calf communication really well with that. You can do the estrus buzz. You can do all that fun stuff. So one thing I like to do with the little tube too is cow call through it.
Let's
So
hear
you
it.
can cow call, get some nasal. So it'll really extend the cow call out there for you. Can't say I've ever called with head muffs on. I can't really hear how I'm sounding.
You
so
sound
hopefully
pretty
it's
damn
pretty
good. You sound really good, man.
But yeah, so I'll let out a bugle through this enhancer tube. So you can see the depth isn't quite there, but definitely still sounds really good for a small tube.
No doubt.
Big bugle tube.
Yeah, significant when it comes to that ringing tone. You really hit that. I think it might be worth taking the bigger one, honestly,
Yeah.
for location.
Yeah. It's definitely, to be honest, that's the one I carry
Yeah.
most of the time. I do throw this one in here and there to, throw out the cow calls. Another thing I use the enhancer for is turkeys.
Really?
So like just letting out a roost check or whatever.
Yeah.
You can do your, this is an elk call, so I'll do my best, but.
Yeah.
So, or you can use it as a howler if you know how to howl with a diaphragm as well. So, but yeah, you can definitely get more depth. The size of the head here as well, the tip. This one we flared out, so you can get your lips in there more, do buzz bugle.
Yeah.
Than this one.
Let's hear a buzz bugle, like some, whatever you want to call it, lip ball.
Yeah, lip ball. So
whatever y'all want to define it as. You know what we're talking about. Yeah.
So versus the buzz through here.
This is the little guy.
So,
man, straight up, I would probably take the bigger tube. I just think the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah. Yeah, and then at 10 ounces, honestly, like at 10 ounces, it's really not that much still.
No,
for
it's
the guys
never
that can't
about weight. It's about footprint. But I think it's worth bringing it. How much is a bugle tube off your website?
Yeah. So the Legend is 50. The Enhancer is 28, I believe. So
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you guys my opinion. Go get the bigger one.
Yeah.
I think it'd be, especially on the ringing tone.
Yeah.
You hit that tone. It's hard to describe. Where like, especially at night,
Mm-hmm.
a bull's gonna you're gonna get an elk located to go after the next day.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
undeniable. So that's cool. Do you see more customers going towards the dome just because that's what more people know?
Yeah,
that's what I
absolutely.
figured.
Like I said, we didn't come out with the dome till this year, and we released the Legend series at the Western Hunt Expo in Utah this year. So we had our booth there, and we hadn't sold them up to that point, not on our website or anything. So that was our release.
And there is some exposure on the internet with those. That's all we can really say.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some exposure. Some people, had used the tubes as well this year. So great feedback on all of it. And
cool.
But yeah, the release at the Western Hunt Expo.
Has the Mile High happened yet?
No, so we have a booth there in April.
Yeah, April 12th.
Yeah, April 12th.
Okay.
So
yeah, Phil Mendoza runs that still.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yep.
Hey Phil, if you're listening, what's up? I love that guy.
They saved my bow hunt this year, honestly.
Yeah, who'd you work with?
I can't remember. Long story short, I had some kid tune my bow that I was just giving a chance. Younger guy bought a new bow, had him put everything on, tune it, and I just couldn't get it to fly right.
Yeah.
And I kept going back to him. He's like 18, trying to get his feet wet in the industry. He has a little shop in his basement at his parents' house.
Okay.
So I was just trying to help him out. And,
That's cool.
He hooked up my buddy's bow. It worked great. But I just couldn't get it to work. And unfortunately, I let it get all the way down to like the day I was leaving.
Oh,
and I'm like, I got to stop at Phil's shop on the way up the mountain. And so I drove down out of my way, stopped at their shop. And he's like, your cams are off. Your sight's not off. It's crooked. Your rest is off. Everything was wrong. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I had to start over, like on my way up to elk camp. And
Isn't that fun?
It was awful. And so
it's not stressful at all.
Yeah, no. So they saved my ass for sure. And yeah, their shop is awesome. So
what's the name of your website?
Yeah, Mile High Note Game Calls.
And what's the name of the Instagram? Same?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Who runs that?
My dad.
Your dad running the old IG, huh?
Yeah.
Do you guys have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's Mile High Game Calls.
You guys publishing any content there?
Yeah, we do. We don't have a ton out there right now of new stuff with all of our new calls, but we do have a lot of tips and tricks out there as well.
People like those.
We even sell kits that come with 2 calls, the bugle tube, an instructional CD, and then it also has a QR code that'll take you to that instructional class to MP3. So, but yeah, there's information out there as well. So,
all right. What's your 9 to 5, man?
My 9 to 5, I work superintendent for the city of Thornton Water Utilities.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And you're a realtor?
Yep.
Yep. My dad full time. He does a greeting card company called Leaning Tree. Mm-hmm. So he's been doing that for 32 years now. And
shit.
Yeah, he's a director of distribution and sales there. So he, I told him this might be the, with everything kicking off the way it has the past few years, I think, I'm like, Dad, you might need to retire a couple years early and really do this if it's what you want to do. So
yeah, Tom Senior, you need to retire yesterday, dude. This is gonna be great. And honestly, like, I don't want to do anything for 30 years except for elk hunt. Like, there's not a job out there. I'm not doing ELKSHAPE for 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do something different. Reinvent yourself. This is cool. And you're doing it with your son. That's a great business. Yeah. And you got help from CJ the Realtor. Are you mainly residential or commercial?
I do a lot of residential, then acreage, farm and ranch stuff as well.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Do you know my buddy Clint Whiting?
I don't.
Okay, he does a lot of farm and ranch. And,
Okay.
And you just let me know if you get any farm and ranch landowner tags that you come across.
Yeah, for sure.
Holler at your boy. Colorado's a really, really spectacular place. I hope you guys can fight like hell to keep it that way, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're trying.
And we're going to have these guys pop over to the ELKSHAPE Gear channel to kind of do a full visual breakdown of all their calls. And I would love for you guys to even do, like, if you want to define the sounds, what your opinion is that they are. Because, like, everyone's, it's a science. It's off emotion. It's a language. I don't get caught in the weeds, man.
Yeah.
I just, let's get that elk to stop at broadside at 20 so I can shoot him,
Yep, that's
elk calling is fun, right?
it is. I mean, I'm not a big spot and stalker. I know you do a lot of,
I have
that
to
in the
where I'm at
terrain
right
where
now.
you're at.
Yeah.
Where we're at, we don't really have that option. Maybe next year in Wyoming where we're hunting we might have to change our tactics a little bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing better than a bull elk coming and screaming to you, making the noise. Like if you're, caught between a couple bulls, it's pretty exciting, but you're not the one doing it. And for me personally, what makes it even more special is, my dad making the calls. And so I use the call that he made and call an elk. So that's awesome. But,
Goosebumps. I love that. Fellas, thanks for coming out. We're going to film some more stuff today, but guys, give them a call. Check out their website. Try their calls. And typically what I would suggest is, those domes are pretty cheap. Do you have a kit or something you can sell, like where they can try them all in a pack?
We do for the open read, but not the domes yet. So, but I mean, honestly, our calls
add all of them to your cart.
With my dad making them all, we keep our price point low too. Like our domes are $10 and our open reads are $7.
All right. So I'm telling y'all to get the bugle tube for $50 and then get 5 different diaphragms. Spend $100 plus tax, get shipping, and just try it out. And then put it in your car and start practicing right now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right now. And don't be the hunting partner that can't make any good, decent sounds. So you're always shooter. There will be resentment. You know who you are. You know who you are. And don't be a one-trick pony. So meaning, spot and stalk when you need to spot and stalk.
Mm-hmm.
Ambush over a wallow when it's time to ambush. Rakeable and locatable. Challenge them. Get in the bedroom. Like, I just want everyone to know all the tactics and then to just turn to the right page at the right time and you'll have success.
Oh, yeah. You got to know every single one. Every bull is different. Every scenario is different. When you think you have it figured out, you don't. Like, that's elk hunting. And that's why it's great. So.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Separation is in the preparation. We'll catch you on the next one.